All right, I'm going to share an idea with you today. I call it the tug-of-war concept for negotiation. If you want to hear that, you're in the right place. Let's chat. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with the Comeback Agent, and on this channel, I'm sharing my journey of getting back into real estate after a 15-year absence. My goal this year is to sell 25 homes, and we'll see if we can pull it off. So here I like to share some stories and lessons of the journey along the way. And a lesson I'd like to share with you is in negotiation. I call it the tug of war. And what it is to help buyers and sellers get committed to the transaction. So it's less likely to fall apart after you've worked really hard to negotiate a transaction and get it to come together. Um, it's just through my experience now. I've been very fortunate in my career, especially when I was in my production part of my career early on in the first 17 years. I sold 992 homes, so about 1,000 homes. And what I learned were a lot of ways to mess it up and how not to do that the next time around. And you just kind of learn from trial and error when you're getting into the nitty gritties of negotiation. And one of the concepts, so I like a lot of concepts in my mind as I'm trying to put these deals together. And one of them is I want the deal to stick together. Too many times, put together a deal, and if you got two parties that are on opposite ends of anything, the price, a term, a negotiation on inspection, just anything that comes up. If you got two parties that have two different ideas and they're far apart, if the idea is, hey, look, they're going to come to the middle somewhere, so let's just go to the middle. And that's a logical answer, but it's not an emotional answer. Okay, logical answer, but not an emotional answer. So logical answer is, yeah, they're probably going to get in the middle somewhere if they're going to come together. And and so what'll happen is one side, maybe your side says, hey, well, let's just go to the middle now and just speed this thing up. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's just split the difference. Let's go to the middle. And and what I've seen happen too often is if you go to the middle right away, the other side says, well, wait a minute, I'm not going to go to the middle. That was too fast. That was too easy. There's probably a lot I can get out of this. And so they'll just keep pulling. They'll say no, or they'll just go just a little ways in instead of, they were here, now they're going here instead of meeting you in the middle. And now you're going to end up meeting, if you end up in the middle, you're actually way over on their side of the fence, and it wasn't such a great deal for you and your client, and you got dragged through the mud and you felt really bad about it, and it may not even stick. That's the other thing I've seen happen, by the way, is the two parties are at the ends and one party goes to the middle and the other party says, oh, okay, fine, and they go to the middle, and then afterwards though they're thinking, wait a minute, they get remorse. They get buyer's remorse, or they get seller's remorse, they get remorse. And so they're like, wait a minute, that was too fast. They'll look for ways out during the inspection, or they're frustrated during the whole transaction. Um, and so what I learned is if there's a tug of war where these two parties are in the deal, they start here and they're pulling, and the other side's pulling, and they're pulling back and forth like a tug of war. Imagine here's the fence for the tug of war. They're going back and forth, they're going back and forth, and neither one are winning, and they're just kind of getting pulled one way and they're pulled the other way, and they're pulled one way and they're pulled the other, like a tug of war. They're getting locked into the fact that, wow, this is tough. The other side doesn't want to give much. I don't want to give any, and I don't know if we'll ever make it to the middle. Good. That's what you want them to be believing, uh, uh, because otherwise they'll never be committed to whatever the final agreement is. Does that make sense? I call that, again, the tug of war. And so the other thing about the tug of war is then if you make a move, you make a small move. Okay. So you don't go all the way to the middle, you just go a little move. And then the other side, they'll see what's going on. They'll make a little move. And you make a little move, little move, little move, little move, little move, little move, and then they'll get together somewhere. So this is all going to take time. You've got to know in your mind, it's okay for it to take time, right? The way I look at it is this is going to stink. I'm going to spend hours messing with this. I just know I'm going to spend hours messing with this. But if I don't spend hours messing with this, I'm going to spend days, weeks, and maybe months trying to get back into this situation. You understand what I mean? The deal is going to fall apart. The buyers and sellers are apart. And depending on what kind of market you're in, you might not get a situation again for days, weeks, months. or longer. I've got properties that have taken a couple of years to sell. So, you don't know what you're going to get into if this doesn't come together. So if you've got people that want to work it out, you should try to work with them to work it out. And don't leave until it's done. And it may not even be done when you think it's done. You might still have another couple shots at the apple. That's what I've just helped some people with lately that we're coaching. Um, they came really close together in the negotiation on an inspection. It happened to be an inspection. I think they were $5,000 apart, and the parties left. And luckily, the agent had talked to me and said, "Hey, this just happened. I don't know. I learned some lessons, but I'll go find another situation." It had taken them 90 days to get to this situation. I said, "Whoa, hold on. Let's try something this. Here's just an idea. You do whatever you want, but why don't you just try to go back and say, hey, we're so close. Why don't we split the difference?" See, that's a good time to say split the difference when the parties have moved, and then they're positioned, but they're really close, but they've already moved on the tug of war. That's a time to say, you call the other agent, say, I know it all fell apart, but you think we might be able to split the difference and bring these people back together? That's a perfect time to do it because they've left. Now they have regret that they lost the deal. Okay. They have remorse that they lost the deal. And now you're so close, you could probably bring them right back together. And luckily, that's what this agent did a great job at it. Just a fantastic agent. And anyway, brought them right back together. And boom, it last I heard, it's closing. So, in any event, I hope this is helping with your idea on negotiation and just strategically knowing this idea of the tug of war. The tug of war. Try it next time. Try it next time. Again, you can do it on price. You can do it on terms. You can do it on dates in the contract. You can do it on inspections because inspections tend to get rough. For me, I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but inspections seem to be just about as hard as negotiating the original contract. And so you're going back and forth or any other item that comes up. Just remember the tug of war to get people committed on both sides. I'll tell you one final part. Um, During the whole transaction I just went through, I knew the tug of war had to happen. And I told my client what was going on. Okay, I always want my client to be in the light. The other side, they can be in the light or the dark based on whatever their agent tells them. But my client needs to be in the light. They need to know what's going on. I'm telling them all the options. I'm telling them I want to do the tug of war, and here's why. I want all the parties to be committed. If you don't want me to do that, I won't. But this is what I want to do, and this is why. And most of the time, in my experience, your client's going to go, "That's great. Go for it. Cool." And also, you also have to tell them, by the way, about the downside. Look, I could do this and the whole thing could blow up. But if I don't do it, it might blow up anyway. What would you like me to do? And they tell you what their thoughts are, and you can strategize from there. But just remember the tug of war. By the way, you can use tug of war for you. Let me throw that out there real quick. So let's say you're one of the parties. Let's say as a quick, simple example, you are the listing agent and you're tug of warring with a seller. Okay, you're the listing agent and here's the seller and you want them to hire you and they want to hire you, but you're just not sure if it's going to come together. And maybe commission is a problem, right? It could be anything, by the way. It could be the time or the length of the agreement. There's a lot of things it could be, but let's say you're stuck on or the price that you want to start at. I've seen that work to be an issue, or the marketing you're going to do. But oftentimes, let's say it's commission. By the way, it's really not the commission that often, but let's say it's the commission. And so you want X and they want to pay you Y, and you guys seem far apart. Remember, tug of war a little bit. Tug of war a little bit. Say, oh, no, I got to have this, and here's why. And they're going to go, no, you can't get that, and this is why. Okay, that was one round. Well, this is why I think you might want to reconsider. It's really to your advantage. This is, you could go through your list to sales price ratio, your days on market, your speed in the market compared to average agents, why you feel you're justified in whatever you're asking for, or what you want them, what they want you to take away from what you're going to do. And then you could do it for less. They hate that one. But you get my point. You're pulling a little bit. And it depends on the person, but they might be polarized and say, no, I've got to do this for me. And if you ever make a move, just make a little baby move. Just make a little baby move. And then maybe they'll move a little bit. Sometimes you'll make a baby move and they'll come all the way to you. You just never know. But you just just make a little baby move at the time. You're tug-of-warring a little bit. Be okay with going through a couple rounds to get where you're going. And if they do end up hiring you and then you bring up the tug-of-war later when you're negotiating with the buyer, they're like, ah, yeah, I remember you were doing that with me. Like, yep, that's why you hired me. That's why I'm in your camp, right? I'm your warrior. So anyway, again, I hope that's been helpful in some way. If you think it's been helpful, give us a thumbs up on this video. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment section. If you haven't joined us yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can see what we're doing along the journey here. And again, I hope it's been helpful. I hope you have a fantastic and productive day. Take care and bye for now. All right.